Welcome back to episode 3 of slowly renovating this old house on a budget in Mashiko, Pottery Town, Japan. Last time I showed the sheer amount of belongings we had to clear in order to begin work. I also talked a little about some initial ideas I had for the design of each room. This episode we get deep into the work and start with the living room. Once clearing the space had been completed, the first thing we worked on was rebuilding the floor. Many floorboards and beams were eaten by termites and needed to be replaced. We thought it best practice to remove all the boards and the rotten beams and add more structure and some insulation. This process went relatively quickly and was not as difficult as you would imagine. Japanese floor sizes are standardized, and it was easy to find the correct materials to rebuild the structure. We made sure to termite-proof all of the new materials going in and the old materials that we'd left. We even had our kids help in the process of screwing things down. Once the structure was sound, we added foam insulation. And for the final layer of flooring, we had sourced very cheaply plywood floor planks. Each plank was around 400 yen, and we bought about 50, which ended up being used for the living room, dining room, plus other rooms in the house. That is around 20,000 yen, which is incredibly cheap for such a huge floor space. When I was young, I visited a friend of the family who was an architect, and in his house he used painted floorboards. I thought it was so cool, as everyone had awful fitted carpets at the time. This was a look that stuck with me, and I wanted to recreate it here. If it didn't work, we could maybe use something else on top of these plywood boards. So we went ahead and painted the floors. Why I chose white? I mentioned previously that I would like to potentially hold open house gallery style events in this space. So I wanted it to feel as much like a gallery space as possible. Next thing was to treat all of the other surfaces in this space. I plastered over the sand-covered walls and sanded, filled cracks and whitewashed all of the beams. The plaster on the walls was picking up the glue stains from the wall treatment underneath, so I painted it with a breathable paint specifically for shikui, or plaster walls. This went a huge way to making the space feel completely new again. I treated the ceiling in the same whitewash manner, which completely brightened up this space. The shoji doors that run the whole length of the room were in a terrible state. I had to replace some of them because they had also been eaten by termites. I moved some doors from the bedroom upstairs that were not going to be used. I stripped the old paper and glue off of each one and cleaned them thoroughly. I whitewashed each one as well to go with the new look of the lightened space. I knew I wanted to replace the paper with something clear, as I wanted to maintain the illusion of a bigger space even when shut. I feel that paper shoji can sometimes make a space feel small and enclosed. I understand their function, but I don't like how easily the paper is torn. I prefer to see out into the engawa and beyond into the garden, whilst the structure frames the view. I also believe the plastic will provide at least a little more of a barrier from the heat or cold outside of this room. Our plan is to heat with a wood stove and kerosene burners, and cool with aircon and a ceiling fan. I have never lived in a home with a ceiling fan before, and I have to say I absolutely love it. In Mashiko, the nights are significantly cooler than the days, and this fan is enough most of the time to get through the hot summer nights. The plastic that I used was actually a thick and very clear plastic folder from Daiso. I applied these with double-sided tape, which was actually originally meant for these screens. I used a lattice of electrical tape to cover the seams on the back. Let me know what you think. Would you do this? Another thing I did for this space was to create a dining table using wood we already had stored in the barn. The idea was to follow the combination of dark and light wood elements already found in the space. I had actually already enhanced these elements myself with a dark stain. I used two types of wood to create this two-tone effect. I whitewashed the raw edge side planks and finished the whole thing in a natural furniture wax. I know that this final result for the living room is merely the skeleton to what will be an ever-evolving home. I don't believe in instant interiors. I believe that to connect with the space and fully live in it, it takes time to evolve with you. I love the brightness and tranquility of this space now. I know that what I have done here to traditionally Japanese architectural elements may be controversial. For me though, I think it was worth the risk. I haven't seen anywhere that has whitewashed a whole room like this before in Japan. I guess I've injected a very Western perspective. I would love to know what you think. Filming and documenting this process has been a big challenge for me, but hopefully with practice these videos will improve. If anyone is interested in a breakdown of costs, please get in touch. I try to use materials that I source either second-hand or very cheaply. For example, this wood stove I found second-hand for 20,000 yen. I cleaned off the rust, and it was as new. Usually, this would be 80,000 to 100,000 bought new. The furniture I either sourced second-hand or made myself, as you have seen. If you are interested, I can provide a list of places in Japan that are great for sourcing things like these. Last time, I said I would give a little history about Mashiko and show you the famous biannual pottery market. During the mid-1800s, potter Keizaburo Otsuka discovered the rich clay in the surrounding earth and established the foundations of what would become Mashiko Yaki, or Mashiko ware. He began producing practical ceramics for daily life. Storage jars, bowls, and water vessels used by local families and farmers. In the 1920s, philosopher and potter Shoji Hamada moved to Mashiko and helped bring international recognition to the town through the Mingi folkcraft movement, which honoured everyday objects. Like Otsuka's work, Hamada's became known for the texture of the clay, the movement of the glaze, and the hand of the maker. Today, Mashiko is one of Japan's most beloved pottery towns, with hundreds of resident potters. The pottery market in Mashiko began in 1966 as a simple local sale and has grown to be a major event that attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. I have the privilege of selling at the market every year, in spring and autumn. I'm located at the restaurant and pottery Tochian, just off of the main drag. The shop has become known for its distinctive blue Mashiko ware, aoi utsuwa or blue vessels, alongside handmade local cooking served directly on the pottery itself, reflecting the philosophy that food and vessels should enhance one another. The restaurant serves seasonal rural cooking using local vegetables and handmade ingredients. Over the years, Tochian has become a beloved stop during the Mashiko pottery market, welcoming visitors from across Japan who come not only for ceramics, but also for the atmosphere of slow living, handmade craft, and traditional hospitality that Mashiko is known for. I have really loved being situated here so far, as I can create a relaxing atmosphere away from the overcrowded main street. I'm fed absolutely delicious meals. My kids also have somewhere to play with the other children of stall holders. The garden is absolutely beautiful and everyone is so welcoming and caring. I really feel as though I have been accepted into this community and I am so grateful. Those that have visited me at any market event will know that I work hard to make lots of new work to excite. I work in small batches, so if something catches your eye, it is best to grab it there and then, as I probably won't make it again. I find the joy in pottery making is the direct trajectory from idea to creation. Possibilities are endless, and I don't feel the need to limit my creativity. Next episode, I will get into the kitchen and start to make some headway there. It is really only a dirt floor shell, so we have a lot to do. I would also like to show you how Mashiko has a plethora of local growers and a huge variety of some of the best locally produced products I have ever experienced anywhere. I hope to see you there next time. In the meantime, please feel free to ask me any questions. Check out my web shop and main YouTube channel. I tend to post events on my Instagram and have recently begun writing letters to my Patreon supporters that detail my thoughts and activities each month. Thank you for watching and see you next time.